Hi, first graders. It's great to see you today. Welcomed. This afternoon, I've decided to do a read aloud from my room in my home. It's not the only spot that I'm going to be teaching you from today, or for the rest of our e-learning time for that matter, but I figured it might be nice that you have an idea of where you are when we're doing this. So for read alouds, we're going to be doing a lot of them in Writer's Workshop, and today we're doing one called Dear Annie. This is a new book to me, and I found that it was really lovely, and it's about a girl named Annie and her grandpa. Take a look at the front cover, and on our sneak peek, what do you think that this is going to be about? Do you think they might write back and forth to each other? I'm going to read you the back blurb. Now, I might look down a bit from time to time. That's because the book is in my hands. It's a little hard for me to read it on the screen, but I wanted you to have a good look at the pictures. Here we go. Dear Annie, my grandpa is my pen pal, Annie tells her class at show and tell one day. It's true. Annie and Grandpa have written each other letters since the day Annie was born. When Annie was a baby, her mother answered Grandpa's letters. When she got a little older, Annie told her mother what to write. But now that she is in school, Annie can read Grandpa's letters herself and answer them too. This is an affectionate portrayal of a special friendship that was written by the Hornbook, warmly enhanced by paintings bright with color and pattern. So what do you think Dear Annie will be about? Do you think two people who care about each other, writing letters and communicating back and forth? Absolutely. Dear Annie by Judith Casely. To my mother and father. Grandpa's first letter to Annie when she was born had a picture of a rose on the front of it. Grandpa wrote, Dearest Annie, welcome to this world. When I saw you for the first time through the window at the hospital, you looked like a rose. That's why I chose this card. Love, Grandpa. Mama read it to Annie in her cradle. Mama wrote back, Dear Dad, Annie is like a little flower. With her pink cheeks and rosebud mouth, she cries quite a lot, but we love her. Love, Catherine. Then she strapped Annie in a little pouch, and they mailed the postcard together. When Annie was 1, Grandpa sent her a birthday letter. It said, We hear you are walking now. Soon we can go hiking in the woods together, and we can look for bear tracks. The blue jay in this picture is exactly the color of your eyes. I love you, Grandpa. Mama wrote back, Dear Dad, she'll be dancing soon. She rocks back and forth in her high chair, and when I have the radio on, she is a wonder. We'll visit in a few weeks. Love, Catherine. Then she walked to the mailbox with Annie, and she lifted Annie up, and Annie put the letter in the mailbox. When Annie was 2, Grandpa wrote, I just received your lovely picture. The mailman rang my bell and said, Looks like a special letter. And there it was, your drawing of Shermie the cat. We had a dog named Buster when I was little. My mother gave him away because she said he ate too much. I was sad for a long time. Love, Grandpa. P.S. I am sending you this card because I imagine when you get older, you might look a little like the girl in this picture, who is French and called Mathilde. Did you notice how Grandpa told a little bit about himself to Annie? That's a great way that he's keeping the conversation going. He's also responding to her picture. Mama wrote back, "Dear Dad, Annie liked the picture of Mathilde so much that she called her new doll Mathilde. What's her name again?" she says when she picks up her doll. "We'll visit next week. Annie says I should tell you to get her some books from the library." When Annie was older, she visited Grandpa. Grandpa took her on her first sleigh ride, and they went ice skating too. When Annie told Grandpa goodbye, she said, "Now you can write me a letter." She must really enjoy receiving them. Do you think you would enjoy receiving a letter? Annie went home and waited. "Mail doesn't come at night," said her mother. The next day, Annie waited some more. She sat on the steps listening for the click of the mailbox. "Mail doesn't come on Sunday either," said her mother. It is hard to wait, isn't it? I guess that's a difference between email and regular mail. Finally, a letter from Grandpa arrived. It said, "Here is a picture of skaters on a pond in winter. It reminds me of McGalvery's pond and how much fun we had skating. And you just laughed when you fell down. I had hot chocolate again today. It tasted better when you were here." Annie dictated to her mother. That means she told her what to write. "Dear Grandpa, today I watched a tape about a little mermaid. She swam a lot. Mama says in the summertime you'll take me swimming. I'll be the mermaid." Did you notice how Annie told her grandpa about herself? Another great way to keep the conversation going. And Grandpa wrote back to Annie, "Dear Annie Mermaid, of course we'll go swimming. I'm glad you enjoyed the tape. When I was a small boy, we had no VCR, no television, and no computers. But I had lots of books and loved to go to the library." Annie wrote back with her mother. "Dear Grandpa, tapes are fun, but I go to the library too. I like books on witches and babies. Sometimes the witches are scary, but the babies aren't." This time, while Mama sat on the bench, Annie mailed the card all by herself. A few months later, Grandpa wrote, "I enjoyed dancing so much at Grandma's birthday party. Here's a picture of a famous ballerina named Anna Pavlova. She came from Russia, where your ancestors are from. They came here almost 100 years ago. She even has your name." Annie wrote back all by herself. "Dear Grandpa, Mama took me to a ballet class. I liked it, except when the teacher pushed on my knees. It hurt." Grandpa wrote back, "Dearest Annie, I never danced much when I was young. This man, Henry VIII, was the King of England 500 years ago. He was very stout and a fine wrestler. I used to wrestle in college, and so did your Uncle Larry. Sometimes it hurt too, but mostly I liked it. I'm going to the post office to mail this card. Sending you all my love." The weeks and months passed. Annie saved every one of Grandpa's cards and letters in a shoebox that she decorated herself. One day, Annie brought her box of letters to school for show and tell. When it was her turn, she stood up in front of the class. "My grandpa is my pen pal," she said. "So far I have 86 cards and letters from him. I write back to him, too, and then every day I wait for the mail. Annie sat down. The teacher passed around Annie's box of letters. The children liked it better than Roy's robot, or Cornelia's celebrity microphone, or even Mindy's sweet shop with the tiny ice cream sodas. They decided they wanted to have pen pals too. The class made a bulletin board called Mail from Everybody. Soon there were cards and letters from all over the world in all sorts of handwriting. Annie put a few of Grandpa's postcards on the board, but just a few. She kept most of them for herself because they were special. Nobody has as many letters as Annie. Over 100 now, and Annie keeps on sending them every week. The end. So, boys and girls, something that you're going to have a choice about, and this is kind of an exciting activity, is if you want to become a pen pal with someone in our class. This is a choice, and it's one that you and your grown-ups will decide on. What I have is on our enrichment page on the class website, set up a list where you can put your name and contact information, and you'll be able to write a letter, and I will tell you who you will write to, and then that person will be able to write back to you. And hopefully every week or every few days, what you'll do is you will send that letter to me, and then I will help deliver it to the person who you are writing to, and then that person will write back. That way you can kind of practice keeping the conversation going and staying in touch with your classmates. So I am hoping that you will make the choice to do this. There will be plenty of other letter writing opportunities, but if it is something that you seem excited about, I think it's a wonderful idea, not just to practice writing, but also so that you can talk with your friends and have a wonderful time doing it. Okay, so I miss you. I hope you enjoyed your book, and I can't wait to talk to you during our next reading group session or during our next open office hours. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.